Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Jordan, but we like to do things a little bit differently here at Fuckup Nights. I'll introduce him with 3 fun facts. So he loves to scuba dive. He traveled to Thailand for a month in 2017 where he fought in a live Muay Thai fight in front of people at a bar. And he went to his first Bitcoin conference in 2014 in Toronto when Bitcoin was worth less than $500. Jordan, come on up here.
Thanks, Patrick. And thanks to Marsha and the rest of the Fuck Up TO team for putting this event together at this beautiful space. So super happy to be here. Super excited to share with you guys my story and just get right into it and talk about all the ways that I've fucked up over the last couple of years. So without further ado, let's start. So I want to kick it off just by asking a few questions to the audience, a few basic questions. First off, how many people here have ever bought any Bitcoin? By show of hands. Okay, a lot. How many people here have ever sold any of that Bitcoin? Okay, less. Now, for the kicker, how many people actually still own Bitcoin right now? Okay, so pretty much the same amount of people as who've sold it. So the reason I ask that is because for all my life, I've been doing sales. I've been selling my mom on why she should give me, cookies before bed. I've been selling since university. I did a painting business where I went door to door. I graduated business, and then I started selling whatever was hot at the time. First thing was Google pay-per-click ads. And so a couple years ago, I decided to start selling Bitcoin. I basically thought, okay, this is gonna be huge. I need to sell it. I need to get involved. And so that's kind of where my story begins and where this fuck up begins. So before I was selling Bitcoin, I was actually working in the corporate world. This is a picture of me with Marissa Mayer, the former CEO of Yahoo, where I spent much of my career for 3 years, from 2014 to 2017. I was working at this multinational corporation, Yahoo. They've fucked up a few times, but I was living the life of a corporate sales executive. I was traveling to Sunnyvale, California, New York, Boston, Chicago, Vancouver, Montreal. I had all the health benefits, massages every week. I had a great team that I worked with, and I was making a lot of money. And I really loved it, but of course, I had to go sell Bitcoin. So this is the chart of Bitcoin in 2017, the same year I decided to quit my corporate job and go sell Bitcoin. So at the beginning of the year, of course, everybody here is familiar with this chart. Most of you probably bought right here, and like me. But it was around the same time I decided to leave my corporate gig at Yahoo and get into it. So I was looking for startups. I got sick of corporate life. I was selling to the same clients, the same packages, pitching the same products over and over, and I had this yearning to go work in a startup. I started networking on Angel List, meeting people at coffee shops, trying to figure out how I could get out of the corporate life and sort of get into that next big thing. Of course, I started with ad tech, but all along I had a cousin who already had a little mini Bitcoin business. So I left, I quit Yahoo, and I joined my cousin to grow Bitbuy. So that's at us at like one of our first events. Basically, it was just a small little company at that point, but throughout that bull run that you saw, he was able to convince, along with some small investors, to put a bit of money in to hire and grow the team. So I joined him, and we set up shop. So this is what happened next. yeah, so I basically quit January 1st. I got back from Christmas break. I said, you know, I'm done with corporate life. I'm going to sell Bitcoin, and yeah, things got really interesting. So, you know, this is 2018. This was last year, and this is right when we started. It was just a couple of us, and you know, who knew that selling Bitcoin was so predicated on the price going up, like to actually make these sales? Well, clearly not me, and so things got pretty difficult. We were spending a lot more money on advertising than we were collecting in fees by selling Bitcoin. And we weren't allowing people to actually sell their Bitcoin through our service at the time. So people could only buy Bitcoin. So that didn't really help us either, because who's buying Bitcoin when, you know, the price is just dropping like astronomically? Like, so that was one of the first things we really had to fix. So we were spending all this money on advertising. We had investors breathing down our neck. They say, Jordan, you're the VP of sales. Where the fuck are the sales? Really what happened to me next was, I could sum up in this slide here. So everybody knows the term crypto winter. 2018 for Bitbuy and for most of the people in this space, specifically in crypto, became the crypto winter. So if you didn't raise enough money to get you through this, a lot of projects lost steam, a lot of frauds were exposed, a lot of shit happened, and basically a lot of the interest that was in crypto throughout 2017 dried up, and people, especially retail investors, they said, it's not for me. So for me, the pressure was on. The investors were after us, asking me where the sales were. My colleagues were wondering what the hell's going on. And this really started to kind of bear weight on me at the time. So it affected my personal relationships, specifically with friends, family, my girlfriend. It affected me in ways mentally. You know, I wasn't working out. I was just working through the weekends, at night, all the time, trying to figure out how to, you know, improve the business, how to get through this, how to turn a profit, and so forth. You know, I started to get pretty, feeling pretty sick, like tired all the time, headaches, dizziness. So I think this is pretty common with people that, you know, get into startups and they sort of let it take over their life. I'm sure like a lot of people here can relate, and sort of the whole mental aspect of what that can do to people and how it can really bear weight on them. So that was really to sum it up, that's my biggest fuck up tonight, is just allowing this to happen to myself and allowing myself to kind of get into this dark place where I just wasn't mentally or physically feeling too great. But I continued on. The next fuck up I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about was the partners that we were working with at the time. So there's a lot of bullshit in this space. There's a lot of fraud. There's a lot of fakes. And one of the things that I learned really quickly, a fuck up that really I wanted to discuss with you guys tonight, was making sure to identify the red flags quickly and act on them quickly. So in this case, we were working with a partner that was essentially providing a service to us. So it was a B2B service. And without getting into too many specifics about the relationship of it, essentially we got fucked over pretty bad as a business, to the point where we almost went out of business. Thankfully, we managed to get through that, but really just identifying the red flags, knowing who you're working with, and acting on them quickly. That's my advice. So we persevered. I managed to deal with my personal issues. I managed to put myself back into a place where I needed to be where I was dedicating time to the gym, time for friends, times for family, and not just focusing solely on the business, even though I do spend a lot of late nights still mulling over the numbers and making sure that we're successful. And being the fact that a lot of this sales and trading is predicated on the sentiment in the space, we managed to have a good year so far, and we've been able to scale up a lot of our revenue, and our team is doing well. So that's our team actually at the Futurist Conference just the other day, one of the sponsors tonight. So that's a few of the members, not the whole team. So really, to kind of sum it up, I'll leave you with this. I'll leave you with 3 lessons that I learned because of my fuck-ups. Number 1, of course, always put yourself first before the business. Make sure that you're taking care of your personal life, your health, and your well-being before anything. Number 2, the red flags that are right in front of your face, do something about it. Don't wait till it's too late. Act on it as quickly as possible. And the last one, I'll leave you with this, and I didn't really touch on this too much tonight, but originally, Bitbuy actually was started as InstaBT back in 2013, and I was one of the co-founders of that with my cousin. And back then, I didn't really believe in the space, but if I had stuck with it the whole time, I would have been building a business pretty early in the space, and I think I could be a lot farther ahead than I am now. So if you stick with something that you know could be big early, chances are you'll be a lot more successful. So that's one other thing that I'll leave you with as a little random fuck up at the end here. So anyways, thanks so much for listening to me speak tonight. I really appreciate all of your time, and I'm happy I was able to share my story with everybody here. Oh yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
Q&A.
Hold on to that. We'll have our mic right here. Great. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to get them going now.
Yeah, thanks, Jordan, for your story. Do you think you could just expand a little bit more on your 3rd lesson? So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So essentially, what happened was I was speaking to my director of marketing, Charlie, before the talk here tonight, and he said, what you should really add in there is about how you were in the space in 2014 and you co-founded a company and you decided to basically not work on it or not do anything about it, and how you waited till the end of 2017 to get back into the space full time and really put your heart and soul into it. So what happened was I originally learned about Bitcoin early in 2013. My cousin who I was mentioning, Adam, who's our co-founder at Bitbuy, he's much more of a computer nerd than me. I'm more of like the sales promoter type. So I always say at the company, I'm inviting everybody to come to the party, and he's more making sure that they are getting their fix. But essentially what happened is he came to me and he said, okay, this Bitcoin thing, it's going to be big. Read the white paper, come over, watch all the documentaries. Who is Satoshi Nakamoto? No one knows. And I was like, okay, cool, yeah, I'll get involved. I was selling Google AdWords at the time for an advertising company. So I was like, okay, I can manage the Google AdWords, I can do the pay-per-click advertising, I can help out. He had one other partner at the time. And so it was just basically a side project that didn't really go anywhere. And then I got him a job at Yahoo for a bit as a computer analyst. And then he left, and then he focused full time in 2016 on rebuilding Bitbuy with his technical co-founder. And then later in 2017 is when I joined him. So my fuck up was that I didn't stick with it early. I can't really complain too much because I think everybody goes on their own journey, and I don't regret it. But nonetheless, when you're super early to a space, then I could have built more early and been further ahead than I might have been now. So that's really fuck up there. Cool?
Cool, thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, here, sure.
Do you believe it's going steadily bigger and bigger?
Why do you think so? Like your
Yeah. So like in terms of Bitcoin, just to talk about Bitcoin, I believe it's an excellent store of value. It's deflationary. It's the blockchain has never been hacked. So I think that there's a ton of value in Bitcoin as a store of value, and I think that because of that, there's a good chance that it will continue to increase in value over time.
Thank you. So we all know cryptocurrency world is pretty wild, and not sure if you're allowed or you would like to share the most fucked up client story with us. It will be pretty amusing.
Client story.
The story behind the big red fraud flag would be interesting too.
Yeah. Client story. Okay, I'll share this with you guys. So, crypto, because of the way that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies work, it can attract a lot of nefarious people. I'm sure you all agree. And it can attract people that are trying to scam other people. So one thing that we've set up at Bitbuy is anti-money laundering and compliance regime that basically attempts to combat the fraud in many ways. And so if there's any red flags, we alert them and we open up an investigation, and we basically do our best to make sure that other people aren't instructing people to use our exchange for some sort of scam where they would basically be sending their Bitcoin or other digital assets to somewhere where they're not going to get it back. So we've had some pretty crazy people call us and say, "Oh, look, I'm planning to send this Bitcoin after I buy it to this service," essentially, and we do a bit of research on them and say, "Look, you do not want to do this. Like, please, like, just don't do this. Like, first of all, we're not letting you do it with us. You're not going to be, so we're not going to be able to service your business. But please don't go to another Bitcoin exchange and send your money to this provider who is just really like, some company like in Europe and a random place that just like has no positive reviews and is basically claims to be trading their coin on behalf of them, so things like that." So we've seen a bit of that, and we've really done our best to try and help those people not get scammed, essentially.
Great, and one more question there.
Hi, thanks a lot, Jordan. So firstly, I'm a big user of Bitbuy. I really love your service.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
So my question to you was, while you were going through that stress period, did you ever regret leaving the corporate world? And if yes, how did you motivate yourself to stick it out? Or maybe you decide, okay, I'm gonna quit and go back to Yahoo.
Yeah, I think it was just people like you, like our users, really, like, and my coworkers, that we motivate each other. Like speaking to happy customers, I don't think there's anything really better. Any business owner knows that if you're helping people and achieve what they are looking to do and empowering them to use your service and it provides value to them, then I think that's what gets you through some of those darker times where you ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why did I leave my high-paying corporate job to go build a business? And I think, and then in addition to that, I think the one other thing is just the learning. Like I consider myself super lucky to be able to learn what I've learned and to continue to learn on a day-to-day basis so much more than I would have if I had stayed where I was. So I'm a smarter, more experienced person than I was before, and like I'll strive to continue to become more intelligent and learn more things for the rest of my life.
Great. Thanks so much, Jordan.
Okay,
Everyone give
thanks
it up.
everybody. Have a great night.